We've just rolled up to Snowdonia's distillery and we're about to get a tour from James.
Hi guys, come on in. Welcome to Snowdonia Distilleries. Come on, get in. Come on, everybody at once. Let's go. Come on. So, today you find yourselves in Snowdonia Distillery. Okay, I'm going to give you a full tour, and on top of that, you can have some tastings, some behind-the-scenes things about what happens here at the distillery, and then on top of that, maybe you'll get some chance to whack some bottles as well.
Yay! Yay!
You like that? Okay, let's get going. So let's start off at the still room where the magic happens. Please ignore the grey boxes. What we have here is one of our new distributors. I'm currently sorting out one of their orders. So in here is where the magic happens. Just a bit about the stills. They're from Hagio. It's made in Hungary. All they do is stills, specifically for distillations. What we've got here is, if I crack this for you, you can have a look inside. I'll turn the bad boy on. This one is named Idris, and inside there you can see everything that happens. So we have an agitator at the bottom, stirs all of the mix that we've got in there, so a macerate will go in there with the botanicals. The agitator will turn and get everything ready. That will then go up through this column here to the top. This will be a gas at this point, so it'll get to a certain temperature where it will all start to evaporate and turn into a gas. When it gets to the top, it starts to cool down a lot, right? Hits this, gets flushed through here, which is the cooling column. There's a lot of fresh water that's really, really cold that comes through here, turns it back from a gas to a liquid. You find that coming through these pipes here, up here, and that little, I don't know if you can notice it right now, but that right there is just a little bob. So it'll come out and it'll tell you what ABV that the alcohol's coming out at. So out of that little spout, there will be alcohol coming out, flowing out. We'll normally have one of our churns. If you turn around behind you, you can see them there. Those churns will be there collecting at the bottom of here for the product that we finalised after the maceration. That's called distiller. So from macerate to distillers, that's what you get. Just secondarily to that, in here, inside here is baskets, right? Baskets for things that are a lot more delicate. Floral notes, things like that. Fruitier notes, things that will overpower the distillate itself and will change really strongly the final product. So what we put in there is things like chamomile, things like heather, stuff of that nature that will be a little bit too like strong. Herbs, yeah. So in distillations and in distilling, you call them botanicals. Those are things that go into the macerations and things that get put into the basket as we're distilling. The floral notes are more heavy in oils, and those oils, the heavier oils, change the flavour a lot more.
So it sifts through rather than fermenting with it.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes in there fresh. It doesn't sift through it. So we have baskets, set baskets all the way along, and we fill those up depending on what distillation we do. So what will happen is we'll have this, once we decide it's hot enough and it starts to evaporate into alcohol, we'll infuse it by opening this up like this. Then it's open. That valve is now completely open. It'll come through here into the baskets. The things that are in the baskets will infuse into the evaporated alcohol, into the gas, go straight back up to the top, and the same thing will happen. So it'll flow all the way back around to the cooling tube, and then all the way down until you get an infused flavour into your distillate. That is basically the number one for these. So following on from that, we have two of the same, essentially, okay? There's just slightly different years between production, which means there are some slight differences. If you look at the back, you'll notice some's got more gadgets than others. This is called Idris, named after the dragon of Wales that lived in Snowdon, okay? It was one of the Welsh dragons that could speak, and one of the Welsh dragons that was told to have formed Snowdon itself. So Idris, we called it Idris because of its aggression. Like when we first got it, did not like to behave, not at all. I would like to say we have it completely under control. We don't. There are certain times where Idris kicks off. Yeah, Idris is not a happy bunny 90% of the time. But if you treat him well, he treats you well. Let me turn Idris off before Idris gets upset. Idris is now asleep again, okay? He's slumbering under Snowdon.
Okay, here we go over Idris.
So, over here we have Erianwen, okay? So Erianwen was our first proper still. Okay, Erianwen, she is what we used as a workhorse for the very beginning parts of Snowdonia Distillery. We started making FORAGER'S, yellow label, black label, all the good things, the kind of flagships. She was our workhorse. She's got a couple bangs and bruises. She's been freshly polished though, so she's looking nice and spick and span. Same thing. So you already know. Put the macerate in there with the botanicals. The alcohol's inside there ahead of time. Goes up to the column, same thing. To the cooling tube and back out the same way. She hasn't got the tube anymore. She lost it. So we've made what I like to call a very high-tech solution, which is a sellotape tube. But she works all the same. You still know about the baskets? Same thing. Same thing as that, completely the same. Only difference is she's got a tube, he's not. Okay, simple as. Erianwen, Idris, Hearth. So, Hearth, right here. Anybody want to take a guess where Hearth?
Is it Indian?
Morocco.
Turkish.
That's it.
There we go. Right, so we have a correct answer at the back. It's almost like he's got insider knowledge. Anyway, so this is a replica of an old school still. Okay, so what they would have used really back in the days. Not a lot of control involved. The only thing that controls it, Hearth rather, is this little tube. So the shaping of the tube and how high that curve is, that's all you've got to go on. So all we use Hearth for is the harsher, hardier notes that don't need a lot of adjustments, right? So things like the chocolate vodka that gets turned into our chocolate liqueur, things like that. That's the only thing we use it for, because those harsh cocoa tastes, you know, like the earthy chocolate, dark chocolate flavors, that can go in there fine, and that curve at the top is all we need for control. If you want to see thermometers, so on here, Idris as an example, these are 2 thermometers, okay? They read out correctly, and you can adjust individually what you want the temperature set to, right? Sorry Idris, don't mean to wake you up again, but here, you don't have control over that. Underneath here is a Bunsen burner, essentially. You turn that on, and then it comes up through here, evaporates, same principles, just less control. Because that's what it would have been like in the original days, right? Yeah, exactly. So in here is essentially the cooling tube, and the cooling tube is just slightly bigger, right? So they didn't have the compact version like this, and yeah, as Reese is showing you, it's the same thing. So in through here will be the evaporated gas, yeah, that's the alcohol gas, comes down through here. This will be filled with water at that time, and then that will cool down gradually and turn back into a liquid.
So it spends longer in the...
Yeah, it doesn't take too much longer than Idris or Erian went to go through, but the pushing down, it's got a longer, more gradual
you want to draw
cooling.
it,
Yeah, exactly. So it comes out the spout here, very old school as always, and what we'll have another one of those churns that you've seen down there at the bottom, collecting the beautiful spirit. So that's it for in here. Follow me through, I'll take you on a bit more of a tour. So what we have here, up next is our macerating churns are all here. They're all color coded for what kind of macerate they are. So for instance, orange is a bit chocolate, and then we have some special ones here that nobody's seen yet. Okay, so these ones are quite special. Okay, I don't know if you'd like to have a look. Would you like to have a look? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So in here, not yet released to the public. Nobody knows about this just yet. But inside here, we have sloe gin, but not just any sloe gin. This sloe gin is something that's been aged in Margaux casks. Now, do you know what Margaux is? What's Margaux? Anyone got an idea? Let's go.
Margot Robbie?
lovely actress, fantastic actress, but no.
So it's a red wine. It's from Chateau Margaux in France.
Yes, indeed.
It's one of the only accredited chateaus for fine French wine.
Yeah, one of the 5 best chateaus in the world that specifically makes red wine. Okay, so what we have, but next door, which I'll show you later, is a Margaux cask. Okay, now that's where they would have aged their red wine. So what we did is we took our sloe gin, we aged it in a Margaux cask, Chateau Margaux cask, and we've come out with beautiful grape notes. It's almost like a bouquet on the nose, and you've got beautiful flavours as well. If you just give me a second, I'll show you the colour of it as well. Ooh. Looks like a ruby.
The legs on that are gorgeous.
Beautiful, isn't it? So, as Reese has just said, legs. Now, legs is something that we use to describe something specifically to do with alcohol. So if I do this, okay, you notice that there are little rims that run along the glass after I've done that on the inside. and those are the natural oils inside the alcohol itself, okay, inside the product. So what happens is, as we do this, the oils get caught in the glass and it runs down, hence why they call it legs. Okay, legs run down to the floor. Okay. Everybody have a smell?
Sorry,
Well, that was the first. But you can smell it, can't you? You can smell the grape, you can smell the sloe berries, you can smell the fact that it's a gin first and foremost. It's got the juniper, it's got the oaky notes from the cask itself. You can smell all of that in there, and that's just at the beginning. We haven't added half of the recipe to this yet. This is still young at this point. So we've still got a far while to go with this macerate before we start to get to bottling. And this is going to be one of our special limited releases. We're talking 60, 70 bottles at most. That's it. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like I've said, we have a bunch of things we've done with people like Clogger, you know, collaborations, things like that. And what you find from that is you get something limited edition, something special, something you've not seen before, that we make for them and for other people, just to kind of give them that pizzazz and what they wanted. Okay, let's move on. If you follow me, we will now move on to the next part of the tour. The next part of the tour is the bottling room. Inside here is where the bottles get made, right? I'm not talking about the glass. I'm talking about putting the distillate into the bottles, cut and ready to go. We're going to filter them because we use real botanicals. We don't use chemicals to flavor our products. We use actual real botanicals, and because of that, sometimes you get things like, if I give you an example before we go in our sloe gin, okay, this is all natural, and because it's all natural, can you see the build up inside there? Yeah. The little biomatter, yeah? Now that is a byproduct of what happens when you use natural ingredients, okay? So you can't completely eliminate it, but you can do a lot to try and prevent it. So what we do is we go through a lot of filtering, okay? Now that means we put a lot of filter pads into our filtration system. We run it through as many times as we can until we get to a product such as this, which is our final level of filtering. Can you see any biomatter in there?
No. Nope, all clear.
No.
Clear? Crystal clear, right?
All clear.
So, same product, difference is the amount of filters that we've put it through. That one would have been the first filter, which is 30 pads, okay? This is 140 pads, just to make sure that that biomatter is as least detectable as possible. It doesn't guarantee 100% that there won't be any build-up over time, okay? But the point is that we're trying to minimize the risk of biomatter buildup, okay? At the end of the day, it's a natural product that comes from Wales. It's not chemically made. We're not trying to put just drops of flavour into everything and completely eliminate it. This is what happens when you make natural products, okay? And there's not a lot you can do about it. People like us for that, and people love the product because of that. We've won this specific bottle, sloe gins in general. We are 3 years on the trot, the best sloe gin in Wales. Number 1, thank you, yes. We weren't aiming for awards, but it's nice to know that we're doing something right, despite the fact we're not using chemicals. Through to the bottling, follow me. These 2 tanks here, these are the tanks that we put our cut distillate into. Sometimes we cut the distillate in them, sometimes it's already cut when it goes in. Now, the word cut means that it's had water added to it to make it to the right ABV. But they will be filled with distillate, and that distillate will then be using those pipes on the side, those tubes. They will run through here to our filter system down here. We have to hand crank everything, just trying to keep that, you know, made by Welsh hands idea to the same extent. We don't want to get a huge filter system that does everything for us. There's a little bit of give and take with regards to this that uses our knowledge and our hands as well.
You've done so much by hand, so
why not continue it, right? So we put pads in here, and we put extra filter sections here so that we can have as many as 15 on here at once. And then what will happen, so the tube will go from here through into this pipe end here, through here, follow through all the filters and back out this way. From here it will go into this, which is called a bell jar. In the bell jar it will then be sat. That will be a filtered spirit at that point, a filtered product. Then from here, this bell jar will go up through to here. You'll put the bottles in here. They will get filled up into that red little rubber ring there. Then you take it off. This is what happens in here. We put the cut spirit, the cut product, goes through into the filter pads. Depends on which product is how many pads we use, how many filters it gets. Like the slow, for instance, like I told you, 140 or 30, that's a huge difference, right? At least as a minimum we normally use 30, somewhere upwards to 14, 50, depending on what the botanicals have done, because we actually get them in. Those are all dependent on the batch that we get, right? A lot of our ingredients are like hand foraged, which is a lot of farmers and stuff like that have done it, picked them by hand themselves. And what you get from that is you can't decide, same as a big company, oh, I want it to taste like this, chemicals. You can't get that. So you have to kind of play around, and you're really a victim to what batch you've got. Same thing with the berries. Sometimes they come in and they're super ripe and they're beautiful and they're perfect, and sometimes they come in and I'm a bit, I'm not feeling it today, I'm not going to give you the colour I want, and that's kind of what you get out. And we don't want to change that. That's who we are. It's Wales. It's Snowdonia. It's
nature of the beast.
exactly. Yeah. Right.
And when you're saying about so being on the bottling process and everything, is it like a cork machine or?
There is no cork machine. Yeah. Good question.
Okay.
So what you have to do is pop them in by hand with gloves on and just try and get them in as tight as possible. And that is specifically for the next stage as well. I hear you wanted to try out what it's like to be a distiller. So
Yeah,
I'm going to give you one aspect of it at least.
All right, sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through. Let's go.
Okay.
So what I have set up for you here, our gold wax, Rob.
Ooh, I love gold too.
And as an example, this is one I did earlier. Yeah. Art attack. Okay. Sending you back. Right. So what we have here is one of our Abet chocolates, right? So you know Hearth? Yeah, that's what we use to make this bad boy. Now what I'm going to show you is numero uno, how we wax. So, do you see any wax on this bottle?
No.
Yeah.
Anyone?
No.
Anyone know? Anyone know? Dust. Okay. Well, what we do is we grab our bottle and then we go into here, out,
That's hot.
and then you have a finished
and-
golden waxed Abet chocolate.
The Twilight Girl.
Now, because I don't think you were listening, I'm gonna do it again.
I was listening.
No,
You just
okay.
dip it
All right.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then what do you do after you
Very.
dip it?
No.
I don't
Let's
know.
not help him. Let's not help him. He said, let's just dip it in. If I give you this,
Yeah.
okay, you saw what I did?
Yeah,
You were
you
paying
just-
attention, weren't you?
I was.
You didn't mess up anything. You listened completely, didn't you?
I didn't listen.
Oh, okay,
I didn't
right.
listen.
Well,
I just was too.
Trial by wax.
Okay.
So dip it in.
like this.
Yep.
All the way in.
All the way in. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Stop. Out.
Oh. Out.
Yep. And then bring it down. Just down like that. Both hands.
Both
Don't be
hands.
scared. And then slowly rotate it.
And
okay?
then rotate it
Yeah. There you go.
like that.
Keep going.
Is this to get ready for drips?
It is indeed. So there'll be excess wax on the top.
Oh,
And
that's
then
hot.
dip it in the water.
And dip it like that.
Yeah.
All the way in.
All the way in. Whoa,
No,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
not all the way in.
She can't take that much, okay?
Oh,
now
shit.
dip it back out
Okay.
and have a look at the top.
Oh, that's hot. Look what I did.
Whoa.
Isn't that hot?
So, for your
Thanks,
first
Jay.
try,
Wow.
for your first try, not bad at all. Because we have to go through quality control here, I will cut that off and do it myself again later. For a first attempt, very good job. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to say that was fantastic for your first time. My first job. Let's not even talk about it. Okay? I'm just happy that I've got the job. now, okay?
okay.
All right. Okay, fantastic. Anyway,
Is this made out of gold?
the wax.
Yeah.
No.
What is it made
This
out
isn't
of?
King Midas. No. This is just gold wax. So if I show you, this is what the gold wax looks like before it's melted.
Ooh.
Okay. And then it turns into that beautiful golden slosh of liquid there that we then put onto all of the bottles that require gold wax. Anyway, let's move next door to the barrel room, okay, where the aging processes happen, okay? Not for our gin, normally, apart from the Margot. And this is where all of the rum aging happens, okay? So let's follow me next door. Come on. Oh, look at this. Through to the next room, okay? Dark in here, but then... Oh. Ignore the mess. This is for future barrels, this is. So these are our support beams. If you look to your left, here we have the numbered barrels. These are the newest ones that we've got, actually. This room originally wasn't filled, but we've got to such an extent of rum making and producing and supplying that these are all filled with Cuban. What we're doing is we're aging them in cognac casks. It gives it a bit of a cognac spicy kick. Okay, it's a bit different from what anyone else is doing. It's not exactly an original rum flavour, but nothing we do here is an original flavour anyway. Okay, so we're unique with this as we are with everything else. We get our rum deliveries in from Cuba because we have a very nice contact over in Cuba. It's 1 year aged, and it comes in here silver, or as you would probably know, white, okay? Which means it's not got any colour to it, not been aged in any barrels, that kind of thing. Comes in through here, we put them into our barrels here, we leave them for as long as they need. There is no, oh, it's been a year, take it out and put it in a bottle. No, if it doesn't taste right, it doesn't go in a bottle. Simple as, that's it. There's no ifs, ands or buts. You get to decide when the flavour is correct, whether the profile is correct, and whether or not we're happy with the final product. We go through every 3 months and have a taste, sometimes every month if we think something's getting really close to the finishing point. We write down notes on the nose, the colour, and the overall flavour profile of it. Okay, and then we'll write all that down, put it into an air table, and we'll all be able to discuss what we think, because everyone's palate is different. There's 2 of us working here, myself, other distiller David, and then we have Chris, who's the master distiller, the one who came up with the original recipes, and he's one of our our leads for when something's right. We always fall back on Chris just to make sure that it's not just our palate that likes it, it's something that can be quite palpable for everyone.
There's like an extra layer of quality control.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that realistically, each one of these barrels has its own characteristics. We don't tell the barrel what we want from it. It tells us what it's going to give us, and that's it. There's nothing we can do about it. Sometimes we'll move rum from one barrel to another to get like a different hint once we find out what the characteristics of the barrel are like. For instance, 13 and 14, these are completely different. Our last notes on 13 were nutty and raisin flavoured, like dried fruit. And then this bad boy, whew, bananas, exotic fruits, mangoes, things like that. That's what was coming through, and that's only 3 months in. So we've, over time, built a better rapport and understanding of each barrel, and that's what we use to really finalise our product and get the flavours we need. So come on, continue with me, follow on through. This is the next barrel room. These blue barrels here all have rum in them. So these things, these blue barrels are in the process of being moved to a barrel. That's something we're deciding on at this very moment. Turn around and see. All of those barrels, the exact same thing, okay? So, remember what I said about the Margaux. Can anyone take a wild guess? Which one of these barrels is Margaux? Have a wild guess. Luke, let's go. Who is the Margaux?
12?
5 or 6?
Wild guess 7.
Wild guess 7. So, Reese, do you want to tell them? Because I know you know which one it is.
It tells you when it's delivered, it's number 10.
Indeed it is. So this is number 10. You can tell that it's a Chateau Margaux cask. Not specifically that it's from Chateau Margaux, but you can tell that it's a wine cask because of the size and because of these specific corks here. So, number 10 here. If I show you how we take out samples, would you like that? Yeah. You can have a look at the actual colour inside the Margaux, at the dregs, the leftovers. You can't get everything out of a barrel. So, here. This is the very technical device that we use to extract samples from the barrels, okay? So, what we'll do, take the cork out. So, there, as you can see, not a lot of colour to it. Still smells very young. So that's what young rum is like. It's very...
Just have it now.
You know what? It's similar to that. It would have been...
October?
Oh, November.
Delicious!
Slight hinting notes of things that are coming through at the moment.
Slight oakiness to it.
A slight oak that's coming through from the barrel. This is one of our new barrels, so like I've said, it's going to take a while. It takes quite a long time for it to get from that kind of flavour, which you're repulsed by, to something that's a lot more palatable, and then it has to be cut down a lot as well. If you look behind you, just on there, you see some of the samples? But those are like from May 2023, from June 2023, just to keep a bit of a sample session of what we've got. We've got more samples than that. They're just behind the bar because they're the recent ones. Once they lose any kind of necessity, once they get a little bit too old for us to really call back to them, because we've got all the notes we need on them, they'll come here and stand on those stacks.
How long is too long before you put that rotation?
We're looking at about 6 months. 6 months, because then they'll have a different flavour by then anyway. Upstairs, Nothing but storeroom. You can have a look. Boxes, yay, boxes. Wow, cool. Anyway, let's go back. That's it. So that's the room. What you can see is, I'm hoping, from maceration to distillation to cutting, filtering, bottling, to waxing and to boxing, and finally out the door to you guys and to everybody that needs it and everybody that's ordered, is made with these beautifully unmanicured hands. Okay, not only mine but David as well, and Chris also comes in with regards to flavour and things like that. So, you know, it's a small team, it's a small Welsh kind of down to earth roots kind of production, and it's something that we're super proud of. It's something I've always wanted to do myself, and the fact that I'm a manager here at Snowdonia Distillery is one of the highlights of my life so far. Hopefully onwards and upwards. It's been nearly 2 years now, and I'm looking at many more. You know, with this job I get to go around the world, Belgium, France, places like that, and you know, really put my passion into things. So thank you for coming to the distillery, everyone. And you know, I love you guys at Ink. However, I'm gonna have to ask you to politely leave the premises. I've got lots of gin to make, so let's go. Everybody out, come on. Out you get. I got stuff to do. Animals.
Wow, James! So that's how it's made. Thanks for giving us a tour around the distillery, and we're bringing the taste of Foragers right here to Ink. So if you want to join us for March 18th, where we've got an amazing gin tasting experience with our friends from Snowdonia Distillery, then you can get your tickets over on the Ink Gallery website. And I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone's name who is on this list, because they're an amazing member of the Ink Corporate. You can get your name on it too by going over to inkgallery.co.uk/join. We'll see you in the next Ink Gallery vlog. Peace!